Hi everyone, Shawn back for the Sci-Fi Model Guy, and we're here with Chapter 3 of the full build series for the U.S.S. Enterprise 1701-C. Now, a little quick intro on this. In the video here, we're going to be talking about prepping the interior of the ship by painting it a nice glossy white to get some good light reflectivity. We're going to be mapping out where we're going to be putting the light strips and the LED. So we're going to talk about that, getting that all ready to go, and then we're going to finish the video by drilling the holes in the nacelles and in the saucer section, get them ready for the navigation lights. So a lot to unpack on this one, folks, and I really appreciate it if you subscribe. Thank you very much. If you haven't, please consider doing so. I would really appreciate it, and it does help the channel. And with that, that's it, everyone. Happy modeling, and on to the video. All right, everybody, priming is all done. I did a couple coats, probably 3 coats of the glossy white on the interior of the nacelles and the secondary hull and the 2 parts of the saucer section. So I was going to put a little bit more, and I decided, you know what, why don't I check it? Because if you look here, you can still kind of see some darker bits there and some darker bits here. I thought of, let's do an experiment. So I was thinking about spraying these with a silver, as we've seen and a couple people have suggested. So I thought, why not do a little bit of an experiment? So one thing, I did find some silver paint that I have. Now I'm not going to spray it on here, and you'll see why. But I just wanted to show you all something. So if you look here, it's not it's not super thick with white paint. You can still see a little bit of the black here. This bit here is just on the inside of the saucer, on the kind of the flat part here. It all has some white on it. And what I did was, you may notice that the lighting looks a little bit different right now. And there's a reason for that. So what I did was, I have a light here that you can't see that's shining down, obviously, and it's illuminating all of this. So what I did was I turned off all the lights here in the garage except for 2 over at the other end of the workbench so I can see, and I've got the big light behind me turned off. So it's pretty much just this light here, this next to the camera. So I thought I'm going to do a little experiment. Let's see how reflective these parts are as they are. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video here, and you may hear that the volume or my voice sounds a little bit different. I do not have the microphone plugged in. So we're going to kind of do this in real time. So I'm going to take this off. My camera is my phone. So we've got the phone here. Now I'm going to flip it up to the ceiling. You're going to see a little bit of my workbench and some toys and things I have. So we're going to point this up at the ceiling. Now here is the light that I have. It's just a little LED thing attached to a clip, and I can kind of move it around a little bit. This is my setup, everyone. There's my microphone, and it's held on with a clamp. It's pretty low tech. But it seems to be getting the job done. Anyway, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to take the saucer section here, both of them, and then I'm going to shine the light up here on the ceiling, and we're going to see, hopefully you'll see the reflection of the light on the ceiling. Now, from here to the ceiling, I'd say it's a good 5.5 feet. So it is a pretty big distance. So, okay, here we go. Taking the lower part of the saucer section, I'm going to aim the camera up, and here we go, bringing the saucer section up to the light, and I'm passing it underneath. So I'm passing it there, and as you can see, just this saucer section here, it's reflecting up. It's really illuminating the ceiling. I mean, this is 5 feet away, and it's just some light bouncing off here. So let me try the the other part of the saucer section. You can look at that. It's almost like a mirror, in my opinion. We'll take the secondary hull. Okay. Even that is noticeable when I'm passing it under. You can definitely see light being reflected. And then lastly with the nacelles, I'm just one nacelle right here, the bottom half, no, top half. And you can see the light. So that's kind of like the cool little experiment I wanted to show everyone. I was curious. Now I do have some silver paint. It would be interesting to paint one silver to see the difference in there, but I'm not going to do that. And the main reason is not to show the difference. What I'm trying to show is that white alone is in my opinion sufficient. So if you are lighting a model and if you're kind of on a budget or you don't have access to silver paint for the inside, don't worry. White will work fine. This is just high gloss, or no, I'm sorry, semi-gloss white paint. It's Rust-Oleum, I believe. Yes. Sorry, I was reaching over to look. It's Rust-Oleum paint, just primer. I think it was $5.48 at Walmart, and a semi-gloss just to get a bit of reflection. You can see kind of a sheen on there. And that was it. I didn't even get it, fully 100% coated like I did the primer. And while we're at it, why don't we do a quick light block check? So here's the other half. Let's turn off the perlite here. And we're looking okay. There's some coming through. That's fine. That's where the tape is. But it's pretty much in the window groups that we've already identified. So it's looking good, everyone. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this with two hands. Usually I have the camera or the phone mounted. All right. Well, a good test. So I kind of wanted to show that in real time. I was curious as to what it would look like, and so you all got to see what I saw for the first time. Again, not to dissuade anyone from using a metallic or silver, aluminum paints on the inside. They're probably great if you really want high illumination, high reflectivity. For my purposes here, I just want the windows to show. So I don't mind if it's a little bit of a softer light. I probably will come across a kit sometime down the line where I do want it very, very bright. The Battlestar Galactica, for instance, is a good one. I recall in that show, those lights were extremely bright. So if I want to do a screen accurate version of that, I might choose to do a silver one. And I have 4 other kits of the Enterprise C that I bought because I love the ship so much. I wanted to grab them while they're available. So maybe we'll do one. Maybe we'll do one in a silver inside light, or maybe with some other masking techniques that some people might want to share. So with that, we're going to end this segment, and we are ready, I think, to go ahead and start putting lights down in this sucker. I'm not going to bother putting any more white in here, even though there are a couple tiny low spots. I really don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. We'll get it lit up with the the LED lights. We'll put the nav board in there. We will drill the holes through for the port and starboard lights. I will do some research. I'm not sure if the underbelly or the underside has white or if they are red and green. We'll look all that up with the modest amount of video there is available. And if I can't find it, I'll just decide on what to do. Ultimately, you can be screen accurate. You can spend all kinds of money on aftermarket parts to make things just exactly so. Or you can do things and have fun and enjoy doing it. I try to do both. Honestly, I will try to make it screen accurate if it's economically feasible and available. So, okay, just real quick before I wrap it up, you'll see there are some smudges on here. This was from the gloves I was wearing, getting a little paint on them and holding these things while I was painting them. No big deal. This, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm going to be priming this anyway. Here, now, the white part I'm going to have to sand off or get off with a little bit of paint thinner or something, because this white paint is quite thick. It's not really something I would want to use on the outside of the ship, especially in an area like this where I can't really sand it because of these nice textured lines that are in there. So I'm going to get this off, and I'm going to be using actually a Tamiya primer on the outside of this. I'm not going to go with the cheaper stuff. I'm going to go with the the proper primer for the outside of the model, just to get a nicer even coat. So I'm going to have to do something about this. Anyway, okay. Well, that's it for this this segment. I hope this was a little bit educational for everyone. It certainly was for me, and I'm glad I was able to share it. So we'll come right back and we'll start lighting the model. See you in a minute. Okay, we're here and we're all primed up and painted with the inside of the ship, and it's time to start planning our lighting. And lot to talk about here, folks. So what I've done here to begin with, and apologize for if I sound tired. I am tired. It's been a long day. So what do we have right here? This is a six light strip of LED lighting, and I'm going to use this as kind of a guide. And what I want to do is I want to plan out where I'm going to lay out all the lighting, and this is going to help me with lines and marking. So I've got everything turned upward, and I've got a trusty little purple Sharpie here. Now I do have the bottom part of the nacelles kind of just attached to the struts or assembly. I don't know what you would call this part of the ship, and I've labeled them right and left. And one of the nice things I did realize about this kit is that the starboard side, which has the right side, has a little notch in there, which corresponds with the piece of the bottom of the nacelle here. And the port side, left side, does not have the notch, and that bottom of the nacelle does not have a thing there. So that really eased my mind, where it allowed me to know exactly which side each piece goes on. I don't really think it matters, but it might. It might mean that, like, the top of the nacelles to me look identical, but they may be just slightly different. So I am glad that I did label this one the right side before. So as long as I know the right side of that, and these two are self-explanatory, I can go ahead and put them on, and they will be in the right spot. Okay, so let me put this back on the assembly there. And so here's the back part, here's the nacelle. So I'm trying to kind of plan out the lighting schema that I'm going to do, and I have decided that for this kit, this build, I'm going to, at least for the nacelles here, I'm going to light them from the top down. So I'm just going to put the lights on the top part of the nacelle, and the reason being for that is I have a lot of room here. I'm not going to have to drill a hole in this part. I will have to drill a hole here and here, and I didn't want to have to put lighting right over where I'm going to put a hole and try to wiggle a wire down in there, and it'd be kind of messy. So we're going to light it from the top down. That will solve this problem. And then the other thing it will do is, since most likely when the model's turned on and the lights are on, we're not going to be looking at it from the bottom up. People will probably be viewing it from the top down, which means that any hot spots that would be visible will be kind of obscured. I'm going to try to avoid them at all anyway, but because it's going to be shining down kind of and illuminating, spreading outwards, I don't know if you can picture what I'm trying to say here. That will make it a more kind of a subtle glow. Oh, that little pop. By the way, that little pop here is this. I have this lacquer thinner, and I use it to clean different tools and things. It's a very strong chemical, and with the heat changes in here and the humidity, everything, this little guy pops now and then. And I've got a couple other cans of things down at the other end of the garage here, like some stain and polyurethane and such, and those like to pop as the humidity changes. So you can imagine I'm in here late at night sometimes, and those things go off, and it gives me quite a jump. I've kind of become accustomed to it, but if you hear those little knocks, I have heard them in the videos a little bit. That's what that is. Anyway, long segue. Okay, so these are marked. Now, I am going to have to drill, as we said, we're going to have to drill a hole through the nacelles and then drill a channel into this plastic here to get the wires that will eventually go into the secondary hull to illuminate the ship or illuminate the nacelle. So this is a tricky part of this kit. I'm going to take this apart a little bit real quick. These two pieces here are basically just they're flat and they go together extremely flush. So what you have to do is drill a channel from the nacelles down into here and then out, so that it goes into the main body of the ship. So let me demonstrate here. I'll kind of assemble the model here really quickly, hopefully. So here's the secondary hull. And get together. There we go. And then you'll see here that this is a very nice design. Like I said in the intro, back in the first video, they designed this knowing, I think, people that were going to illuminate this kit. So here it is. It slides in, so the wires are going to have to go through here and dig a channel through the assembly here, and then out into the secondary hull, which will have plenty of room in here for the wiring and everything. Is going to be a big spaghetti mess in there at the end of this thing, and it's going to be fun to do that. So what we're doing now is the initial planning stages for the lights. So we have our bottom parts here. I'm going to put those aside, and the top parts of the nacelles. So again, as we stated, these are just going to be shining down, okay? And there's no place like the center. So I've got my little Sharpie here, and I'm just going to mark here, just very easily, where that light's going to go. So I can even draw the rectangle here. No big deal. And we're going to do the same thing here. And just to point out, this light here, the strip that I have here, this is a bright white light strip. And for the nacelles, I learned again from Boyd over at TrekWorks that the nacelles is better to use a warm LED. There's bright white, and then there's a warm light which is a little bit more yellowish and a little more subtle. I used that for my Enterprise E build. That I do have one coming of those, by the way. So we'll be building that kit. But Boyd has a good series on that, and you can see there he does use some warm LEDs for it here. So I'm going to do the same thing, but using this strip here for that. Now, in the front, we're going to do the same thing that we did with the Enterprise 650 build, which is build a kind of platform of sprues to get one light in the center of the nacelle so that we can light the Bussard collector, the tip of the nacelle, evenly. So it's a long-winded way of saying I want the light to be right about there, right in the middle of all this. So we have to kind of build a little platform, and I'm going to use that little platform of just pieces of scrap spruing the framing for these pieces. Oh, there's another pop. Just to keep it steady. I've seen some people will kind of put the wire in and let it kind of sit here in the middle, but over time it may droop or sag or get moved over to one side or the other, and I just don't want to do that. I want it right in the middle. So we will be doing that. A couple other notes here about the nacelle. The nacelles. So here's the top. Now we've got a lot of lights on this model, and I don't mean just the room lights or the crew quarter lights coming through the hull. I mean navigation lights and such. And I really want to do this kit justice and have as many lights there as I can. What happened here? Oh, I broke a little nub off these little. There's these little tiny nubs here that go into these parts. Broke one off on the tail back here. That's okay. I'll just have to keep that in mind when I glue it together. Okay. Squirrel. So we've got a light here, this little dot here, and a light here. And I did look, and these lights here are red and green depending on the side, and then the ones back here are white navigation lights. So I'm going to tie those into the nav board and have them blinking in sequence with the steady state navigation light blinking. That's on each nacelle. So we're going to have to leave some room for up here. Well, first of all, we're going to have to drill a hole through that nub and drill a hole through there. And then we're going to put a red light or a green light there and a white light back here and tie those in, tie the main power in, and then the negative side of those lights goes to the navigation board. We will go through that thoroughly as we get to that part, but I just wanted to kind of we're talking about the planning of the lighting here, so this is kind of a boring part. Same thing with this cell, obviously. Now, I am still debating on whether or not I want to put a strobe light on the secondary hull. We are going to go with at least one, and by a strobe light I mean a double blinking, very fast-paced light compared to the nav lights. We've got one that is going to go right here, so that is going to be kind of a flash state, and then we'll have the red and green lights on the starboard and port side, a white light in the front, and then we're going to duplicate that pattern on the bottom here, red and green and a white up front. So a lot of lighting, and then we of course have to illuminate all the lights in the saucer section and the upper and lower parts. Okay, so the lot going on here, guys. So before we jump into wiring and putting them in there, I thought I would just use this strip and let's plan it out. So hopefully you can see where I've masked, and basically I want to get a lot of illumination here in this kit. So I'm going to put quite a few lights in, and I've been thinking about it. I think what I want to do is put 4 sets of 6 here, and there. So we've got this nice lot of room here. The other thing I do have to consider, though, is where the nav board is going to be. And why don't I? Well, I should have gotten out, but I can tell you it's about a square inch, about this size. So if I put one here, you're watching me again thinking kind of real time. Why don't we put it in the front of the ship? So just kind of marking out where I want a strip there. And then we've got this room here for a nav board. So we can put the nav board about there. And another strip here. Very, very rough. It's slipping around on me quite a bit, but that's okay. This is fine for me. I know where things are going to go. We're going to go here. Okay, and the last one, and it's not perfectly aligned, it's not, angles aren't exact, but that's quite all right. So there's our basic plan for the inside of the lower hull, and that's going to shine up and illuminate mostly here. Okay, now we do have quite a few lights going around here, and we're going to go ahead and do sets of 3 in multiple parts here. And I did test it. There is some room, so if you see this little bit here, there's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch room up there, which is plenty for these lights. So we're going to just do these in sets of 3. So about like that. And I'll just kind of eyeball it from here. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting again. No one made a comment about my Sesame Street count joke that I put in, I think, chapter 3 of the Enterprise 650 build, so I'm not going to do one here. All right, so there it is. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections of 3. Yeah, it looks like I got those pretty close. So 8 sections, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 8 sections of 3 and 4 sections of 6. That will do plenty to illuminate all of this top here. And just from my experience, I know that all that light is going to be hitting this white light, and as we demonstrated in one of the last segments, maybe the last segment, that will reflect down and illuminate these more than adequately. So we don't need to put any lights in here shining down. This is going to be plenty. When you enclose all this and you have all this white reflecting light every which way, it's going to come down and filter through this, and it's transparent plastic. We didn't mask it, so it's going to be just fine. Nav board there, and we're going to drill a little hole through here, and that is kind of like a throwback to the TOS Enterprise, where there's a little planetary sensor dome, a little clear bubble there that we're gonna put there, and that will illuminate. So what else to talk about? Oh, secondary hull. Let's plan our secondary hull here. So these are equal sides. There's a big blank bunch of room here that is a I don't know what it is, part of the neck. I wish I knew what that was called. I'd have to look. I pride myself on starship knowledge, but I don't know what these are called. Maybe somebody can tell me. All right, so we don't really have a lot of room to work with in here. There's a lot of lights and a lot of rows here that I don't want at a single. I don't want like an entire row blacked out. So we're going to have to put our light in here strategically. So one thing I've thought of is we have quite a bit of room up here to shine down on each side. So why don't we go ahead and we'll put a nice big 6-piece or 6 light section. Yeah. Well, no points for accuracy here, huh? on lines. We'll get one there. And if it happens to hang over and somewhat block one of these lights, that's fine. We've got a 6 section there. We'll do a 6 section here. And that's the neat part of this, the white painting on the inside is it gets the light bouncing around so good, or so well rather, that you can kind of put the light anywhere you want and you will get some effect. Okay, so where else? I do want some shining up. So how about a section of 3 here? Basically what I'm doing here, folks, is I'm finding anywhere where I can fit some lights. There are not many options. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and we'll be able to get some CA glue in there to hold it in place. So there's one, and we'll do the other one over here. Yeah, I'm just eyeballing this one. I know where it's going to go. So this is just as a reminder at this point now. Okay, so what else? We've got some lights up here. Maybe we should put one here. I have an idea. We'll do a 3 section light. Look at this. I'm just making this up. We'll do a 3 section light here. Okay. And of course one on the other side. Right about here. Okay, so I've mapped that out, and what I'll do is I'll put some sprue here to angle them up. So I want the light to be shining kind of toward these windows up here to illuminate. The light down here I don't think will hit up so much, and maybe I'll put another section of 3 excuse me, 3 question mark. I'm just not so sure about this part, because all the wires are going to terminate and come out down here. So I'll probably end up doing it. Put a light there. So, but again, I still want to do another section of light here and here. But what I want to do is I want to illuminate these upper windows here. So what I'll do is I'll take this piece of sprue and I'll lay that down here, and I think it's SPRU. So I'm just writing that to remind myself later. So sprue there and sprue there on the bottom to help angle the lights up, so they'll be crossing and illuminating this upper section of the hull. So that'll angle those lights a little bit. I probably don't even need to do that, but why not? I've got the extra little pieces of plastic, and let's angle them up to illuminate that nicely, because I know the engineering section well lit always looks really nice on these ships. Okay, so that's kind of it for planning. Honestly, this is the first time I've done this. I've always just kind of went with it, and went as I go and just start, soldering wire and laying them down, because in my head I planned it out, but I wanted to do this visually for you with my chicken scratching writing, or lines here just to kind of show you the thought process, visualize the thought process, things that are going on in my little brain, and hopefully that's helping. So we're going to cut it off here, and when we come back, we'll start laying down the lights, and then at some point we are going to have to talk about drilling the channels here to get the wires through. That's going to be a very important step, and I'm just a little too tired to even talk or think about that right now, but it's definitely doable. But you got to be very careful when we're planning these parts, because you have to drill the hole through there, the channel, and then make sure that the hole you drill here lines up with that. So there's some things to consider, and I'm just a little bit too tired to attempt it. But that's okay. I think we got a lot done. We talked about a lot here, and we're planning out our lighting. So hopefully this is helpful to those of you who are building this kit or another one, is to kind of think about your lighting scheme and how do you want to attack it, and think about other things that you've learned along the way, hopefully. You know, for instance, like this one, putting the lights on the top of the nacelle, shining downward to illuminate, because we're more than likely going to be looking at the model from above it, and that will help hide any light spots or hot spots, as they call them, and then also gives a little bit more room to work with to get the wires actually terminating out of the hole that we're going to have to drill. Okay, everyone, that's it. I am tired. I'm done. I'm going to bed, and we will catch you up on the next segment. See you soon. All right, we're back here at the model station from the paint station over at the other side. Everything's primed on the inside of the models, and we're going to talk a little bit about lighting. So, as promised before, because we didn't really go over it much. Now, with this kit, you'll notice here I've got a bunch of little rectangles put down with a Sharpie, with this purple Sharpie. And all that is I cut some lengths of LED, some 6 and some 3. Sorry, 6 lights long and some 3 lights long. So if you recall, these lights have to be in sections of 3 where you see these copper connections there. So what I did was I planned out my lighting scheme ahead of time. Instead of just starting to cut lights and put them down, I mapped it out pretty much. Now with the Enterprise 1701, the original series model, it's pretty self-evident. There's only a few window groups and you can kind of know where you want to put them. But with this kit and with the Enterprise D, if they ever remake that one, a little bit different. So now, if you recall, also, we did demonstrate that the white painting inside is very reflective when we shot the light up on the ceiling. When I held it under the light and it bounced up onto the ceiling in here. So I'm opting only to put lights on the bottom part of the saucer. The top part obviously will get illuminated from up here, and the bottom part of the saucer only has lights in this section here, and I'm very confident there's going to be plenty of light bouncing back down to illuminate these guys here. So I mapped them out, and I went ahead and pre-made all of the lighting here. So I counted, I'm going to need 14 sections of 3, and so they kind of go about there, and 4 sections of the 6, and that's just for, 8 sections of 3 for the saucer, 4 sections of 6. This square here is where the nav board's going to go. Okay. And I cut out a length of 6 for each warp nacelle. Now, you may notice here, this lighting here is a little bit different color than this one. This is a warm lighting strip, which I have a reel of warm light. It's more of a yellowish, softer glow. And that just kind of works better for the nacelles. But if you only have white, that's fine. You can actually take a little yellow paint if you want and kind of go over it to diffuse it out, or not. You can just leave it. It's not a disaster if you don't have the warm lighting. I happen to have some, so I'm going to use it. What else here? So those are our lights. Now you'll notice here, I have the secondary hull kind of temporarily taped together here, and we'll get to the reason for that in a second. But just know that there are the same. I did map out some things on the inside here. I'll go over those before we glue it up and show you what my ideas were on the inside. They're pretty basic, but there's one little bit of a nuance I did in there. So, what other lights we're going to have? Obviously, we're going to have our little tiny nav lights, the blinking strobe lights, the navigation lights, and other things. So with that, that's what I want to show on this part of the build. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. We're going to have to drill quite a number of holes here. So we'll start it off. I'll kind of put the model together a little bit here so we can talk about it. So we've got the starboard side and port side. If you look here, there are little, maybe you can't see it. Again, there's a little bump there, and that is supposed to be the light. And there's one up the front, and there's one over here. And these are duplicated on the underside as well. 3 kind of raised areas in the model kit, and those are to be lights. However, unfortunately, these lights also are directly above these holes here on the kit. And on this side where the lights are here, so here's a light that goes into the nub that goes into here. And we need these things to hold the model together. If we didn't have this here, the model would kind of fall into it. These literally hold it up. And that's really unfortunate. That it looks like a very big oversight. It would have been better had they kept the little nub here for the light and moved this part over over a couple inches either way, or a centimeter or so. It's just really unfortunate. So if you want to have the lights here, actual lights, you have to drill through and basically have wire coming out of this nub here, which makes these things impossible to put in. At least as far as I can figure out. I can't imagine a way to do it. If someone has an idea for that, please let me know in the comments and tell me. So what are we to do? Well, what I'm going to do here is I have my trusty Dremel, and I've got a very small drill bit connected to that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to still drill holes into the saucer here for the lights to come out, but I'm going to just offset them a little bit. And then I will take my handy nippers here, and I'm just going to I'm going to cut these off actually. So that comes off, and I can see where it was left behind. Just cutting it off, and then I'll sand this down to get it flush. And then once we paint it, it won't even be apparent. But it's really unfortunate because these are nicely placed. But we're just going to move them inward a little bit. So, and if you see here, there's a circle here and kind of a circle there. I think it's like part of the mold. I'm going to use these as a guide of where to drill. I'm going to drill from the outside, from the inside out, so that I know that I'm not hitting these important little struts or supports or whatever we're going to call them. Okay, so those are clipped off. I'm going to do the same thing here on the underside. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Now there are 4 other lights here. The thing is about this ship, it's kind of hard to find source video or material because this ship was only really heavily featured in one episode of Next Generation called Yesterday's Enterprise. There are a few Ambassador class ships flying around in some of the Dominion War episodes of Deep Space Nine, and maybe there's some fan fiction and stuff like that, but they're all like 3D rendered things. So aside from what you see on the show, everything else is kind of whomever is creating the fan film. So I'm going to kind of go with what I want to do a little bit. I am all for people who do things 100% screen accurate, but I like to do a little bit of my own thing. That's just me. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a little bit different paint scheme than I did on the original model that I did, to make it a little more screen accurate if it's not model accurate, which there is a difference. So the way they actually paint these models in the shops that end up on film, obviously the screen changes the colors a little bit. So I'm gonna paint it to kind of be a little darker than what the actual model is. So we'll get to that point. What else? Lights. The reason I have this taped together is because I'm going to create a couple of lights on here as well. Again, this kind of personalization. I want to put a nav light on the tail, on the aft section. I'm going to put one here. I'm going to put one on the other side. And the trick is that I'm going to drill right where these 2 pieces meet. So it's going to end up being kind of a half moon in there. But that's fine. Once it all comes together, we'll put our light where we want and use our solar res, which I haven't talked about in this video yet, but we'll get to it. So light on the bottom, light on the top, and those are going to be strobe lights. Double blinking. I think there's different settings on the navigation board. I'm going to have these guys doing 2 flashes very quickly, as well as there's a strobe light that does that right here on the back of the bridge section. So a lot to talk about, a lot to go over here, a lot of information I'm giving you. So bear with me if you're building this and following along. Hopefully you're having a good time doing it. Okay, so let's drill. I'm going to go ahead and drill, again, a little bit offset of where these guys were. This one doesn't need an offset. I think I didn't finish talking about it, but there's these 4 lights here. I'm going to put some yellow lights there. I've got some yellow LEDs that I had ordered back some time ago. I even have some purple ones, and I want to kind of use them here just to give the ship a little bit a different color. So maybe yellow and purple, or 4 purples there might look cool. Still debating what color to do. Okay, so I've got the Dremel on. So I'm going to start here with this guy, and I'm going to try to get it. Well, hold on a second. I just realized something. Now, since this is kind of a dome, it would tend to make the drill bit slip a little bit. So I'm going to actually cut this off, because we're going to re-dome it with the solar res. So cutting that off and making it a little bit flatter will give me a better chance of getting this drill bit on the spot that I want, and so it won't slip off and I end up scorching or drilling where I don't want to. Almost caught myself there. Okay. So I'm just gonna, and of course you can't see it because of the way I'm holding the tool, but I'm going straight down. You can hear it engage. And there it is. Now you'll see here on the Dremel, it picks up a little plastic, and this will build up. This plastic will build up on here, and eventually you end up, it'll still drill holes, but it will make them very large. So after each one of these holes that I drill, I like to come in here with my knife and take this off. It comes off pretty simple if you do it each go around. There's another trick I've done where I'll turn on the Dremel on a low speed and hold the knife and just kind of run it up and down, and you can kind of see the plastic coming off that way. And kind of put, there's a piece right here I'm pushing off. There we go. Now it's off. Now when you have it too high, if you're doing that on a high speed, there's a chance you could actually break your drill bit. So if you do that little trick I just showed you, just be careful. Okay. Okay, I'm on speed 2. Okay, we've got the drilled the hole there. Now to do the offset. I almost forgot again. We're gonna go from the inside out. So why don't I'm just gonna go here. I don't need to be right on the edge. So I'll just do it a little bit away from here because I have to remember I am going to have a little light there. So I have to have some room for that light to fit. I can't have it like butt up against this support. So we're going to go down like before. Okay. All right, the drill bit is clean. Go to this other side here. Okay, there's some plastic there, so let's do the little trick. And oh, by the way, folks, I am wearing safety glasses, so you do want to wear them because you'll get little bits of plastic flying up, especially this part right here. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and now for the final on the 4th section. Ah, look here. I've got, this is masked. I've got a window group there, so I'm going to end up not taking that mask off. Another strange placement, but I guess no kit is perfect, huh? Getting a little bit unfortunate, so. Okay, the top of the saucer is done. Now we're going to go to the bottom, and again, we're going to offset it from these bits here, but thankfully we've got these as guides. So a little bit in. And that one took a little more pressure. Yeah, real important to get your drill bit clear of any leftover plastic. Like I said, it'll still drill. And I found that out the hard way. I was drilling, and then I realized the holes I was drilling were twice the size of the drill bit, and I was like, what's going on? And it was the plastic left behind on there. Okay. So we had 1, 2, 3. And for this one here, these 4, I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to cut these little nubs off. I think this will look pretty cool, having these extra lights on there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, now I just realized that this bit's flush against my towel, and I don't want to get the drill bit into the towel because it will pull it up, and I'll spend a year untangling that. So I'm just going to put this over. Whoops. Okay. Just have it a little off the ground, off the desk is all. And I have the Dremel here set on number 4. Seems to be a good enough speed. Any faster, it might actually melt the plastic and make it a little bit harder to control. And this seems to allow me to have a little bit, like I said, a little bit more control over the tool. And it doesn't start boring into the plastic if I have it a little off center or something. Alright. Let's clear that one out a little bit more. Okay. Let's give this a look with the pen light. There you are. So you can see there's the light coming through, light. And it ended up a little clogged, but we've got that. There it is. Okay, just testing them. Sometimes there's a little residue left over in there. I want to make sure they're cleared. Maybe I can. No, that was just me. Sorry. I was like, I had to clear that one out a little bit. Also good. All right. Now we're going to put those little created lights in here. Again, we're going to do one right at the tail end. Actually, changed my mind here. I think I'm going to do it right here. So there's like this little raised section there. What should I do? Yeah, we'll go here. We'll go on this part here, and then on the aft we'll go at the very tail. On the bottom, I mean. So I'm making this one a little bit bigger. I'm leaving the drill bit in there, and I'm kind of doing this a little bit, not this exaggerated, of course. Because I want to make sure that that half moon on each side is prevalent. Okay. Now to the last one. Oh, what happened there? Power went down a little bit. I'm going to move the light here. Sorry about that. So I can see where I'm drilling. All right, and that'll do it. Okay, let's move the light back. Sorry about that. That clip was about to come off. Okay, so light drilled there, light drilled there. Now I can take this apart and we can show and what's going on the inside here. And how I'm planning to light the interior here. And it's just one little kind of a thing I'm doing. Okay. So I have the pieces of 6 just taped in there just to keep them where I want them. So we're going to go section of 3 here, section of 3, 6 obviously, section of 3 and 3 and 6. And we're also going to do 3 here. Now this is the thing that I keep forgetting what to call this part of the ship. I'm going to have to look that up. Hello, come on. So I'm going to put a section of 3 here, and that is to illuminate the neck, the windows here in the neck, and there's quite a few here, and it's above this little grill part. So what I want to do is I want to aim the lights upward a little bit. So this light here will be aiming up. I want it aimed up or angled up to illuminate this side, and this light's going to illuminate that side. So to do that, I'm going to install, again, I use a spare piece of the sprue. I'm going to put it on the bottom here, and it'd be easier if I actually had the piece cut. So why don't I just do that? Okay. So I'm going to make sure that I don't have any pieces that I'm going to need here. So these are all going on the ship. And I'm just cutting a small piece here. For that side, let's get a small piece of it there. So I'm going to glue the sprue here. And then the light will rest, the bottom part of the light will rest on the sprue so that it will be angled. I'm fumbling around here and this thing's moving. So I'm sorry. Hopefully you get what I'm talking about. It's going to be angled like that. So, or the other way. Once I get it glued on, well, I'll definitely show the result. But that's the idea that behind that there. So, okay. What's the next spot? Oh, shoot. I forgot to do some drilling. We've got some lights here on the nacelles. This is the top of the nacelles, left and right. So left, right. We've got a light at the front and a light in the back. These here are white strobe lights. I'm just going to do basic, not double flash, but just one flash. These are red and green. And I noticed while I'm talking here, I'm going to cut these nubs off like we did before. What I've noticed from the episode Yesterday's Enterprise and then any of the other fan films is that the red and green lights, the directional lights, don't blink. And from Yesterday's Enterprise, I thought maybe that was just because the ship was like on low power emergency mode or anything. And then everything else I saw that they're not lit. And then I went further. The Starship Voyager, those red and green lights do not blink either. So I think the blinking red and green was a throwback from the original series. Even though I do like it, I like the animation of blinking lights on and off. But for this one, that's part of this ship I'm gonna do. Show accurate, even though I like the blinking. I'm going to have enough lights and enough action going on with the white lights that I don't need the red and green ones to blink. So, excuse me. I'm going to move the light again. Wait, 1, 2. Definitely got some plastic on the bit there. Okay. Oh, look at that. I picked up some fiber from the towel. Get off of there. And gotta be careful. I don't want to ruin my nice towel here. It adds contrast so you can see what I'm doing. I think that's it. I just want to get this. Kind of sounds funny. All right. Whoops. I hit the button there. Made a weird noise. All right, folks. That's it. So all the lights holes are drilled. The next part is going to be actually gluing the lights down and doing that part. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, cut some wire. We'll start with the saucer section because that's the biggest bit of it. We'll start there. I'm going to record the whole thing for that. So when we get to that, you can put it on double speed. But again, I kind of want to make up for what happened with the 1701 build. And I'm going to try to do a little cleaner wiring job for you this time around and get it looking good. So we'll be going with a main power source of positive and negative wire. So we're not going to connect them in a series. Each one of these lights is going to be connected to the main power wire. And that way, if one of them fails or shorts out, we'll still have the other ones working. Kind of avoiding that Christmas tree fallacy or curse or whatever that, if one light of a Christmas tree goes out, they all go out. So we're going to avoid that. Each of them will be connected. So we're going to show how that happens and how we do that. Get it cleaned up, get the soldering iron heated up, and we'll be back and start going with the lighting.